One evening, as I made my way home after a long day, after getting off the bus, I felt the weight of a stranger's presence uncomfortably close. A mere crosswalk away, he even bumped into me, his proximity raising the hair on my neck. Determined to shake off the unease, I quickened my pace, but he persisted. In an attempt to break free from his unwavering presence, I stopped to stow away my groceries, allowing him to pass. Relief washed over me as he disappeared into the crowd. I was living in a peripheral area of the city. There were many people on the main boulevards at 8 p.m., but the little streets and alleys were quite empty. There was a bit of distance between the bus station and the building where my apartment was, and I had to take some turns to reach it, so it was not a straight line and I didn't have much visibility. The alleys were quite dark at that hour. There were lots of bushes and trees with cars parked on each side of the road. I kept hearing footsteps somewhere behind me, but every time I turned around, I couldn't see anyone. I became increasingly aware of the emptiness that surrounded me, but I pressed on, hoping to dispel the paranoid feeling of being trailed. My building had an intercom and a locked door, so anyone who wanted to enter would have to either use their key or ring for the apartment's code and have the person they were visiting open for them. While I was unlocking the front door with my key, I saw a man's hand going over my head, grabbing the door and opening it for me. Thinking it was one of my neighbors, I turned around to greet them, but the illusion shattered when I saw it was actually the man from the bus stop. With a smile on his face he said,
"Howdy."
He looked at the door he was holding, gesturing me to go inside. Suspicion and fear clutched at my senses, but I hesitated, unsure whether my paranoia was justified, because he could have actually been a neighbor. Surely, I did not know all of my neighbors. It was a 5-story building, there was no elevator and each story had 4 apartments. Mine was at the first floor and it was the last one at the end of a hallway. I made my way inside the building. He was still behind me. I went past the stairs, and instead of going up the stairs he was lingering behind me. I reached my door and he passed the last apartment, so the only door left was my door. A surge of panic gripped me as I realized I was home alone, and it felt like the better option was to confront him in the hallway where my neighbors would be able to intervene instead of opening my apartment door and giving him the chance to ambush me inside. I turned, clutching my keys, the only makeshift weapon I could think of in that time, and confronted him. The tension hung in the air as I demanded an explanation. "What are you doing?"
"Visiting a friend."
"What are you doing in front of my apartment then?"
"I'm looking for the elevator."
"It's a 4-story building, there's no elevator." I pointed to the stairs and invited him to be on his way. He hesitated for a while, but then he turned around and went up, and when he reached the first floor, I seized the opportunity to open my door, went inside as fast as I could and locked all the locks. I kept watching on the peephole and saw him running down the stairs a minute later. He came back at my door and pressed the door handle, then, upon realizing it's locked, he ran out the building. I promptly alerted the authorities, but they found no trace of him. The encounter haunted me for years, and even now, I find myself glancing over my shoulder, forever haunted by the memory of that suspenseful night.